Hi, this is Ushio, and welcome back to Echo. It's Friday on Cole's Route. So, hey, is this useful? Yeah, hey Raven. So we're in the basement, and we're trying to get research for our project, which is the local history of the town. I look over at Raven as he holds up what looks like a porcelain canine doll of some kind. Maybe. Again, just set aside the stuff you think might be interesting enough for me to take pictures of. Okay. He puts it to the side and starts digging through the tub, rather carelessly, again. I sigh and turn back to the binder. I really wish Cole had agreed to come down. Again he declined to help me, even after Raven arrived. But now I guess I have my answer as to why. More stuff is missing from the tubs, and I know it can't be anybody else except from Cole. The containers were turned the opposite way when I got down to the crawl space earlier this morning. On top of that were two more loose wrappers in the tub, along with... I trace a paw up the torn edges of the missing page in the John Begay section. The question, of course, is why he would be doing this. There's absolutely no reason for it. And the bizarreness of the situation makes it pretty much impossible for me to confront him on it. It's his house after all, though if he didn't want me going through it, why would he have shown it to me in the first place? And he isn't even trying to cover his tracks. In fact, I practically caught him in the act just a few nights ago. He must know now that I'd be able to put that together pretty quick. I closed the binder, deciding that this will be the last time I'll be going through this stuff. If Cole doesn't want me digging up info on his family's history, then I'm not going to pry any further. Hey, look at this! Raven holds up a wooden train. I bet this is probably the shit back in the day. I sigh. Well, probably. Oh, phone buzzes. Hello? I take it out. My notification's telling me I've got a text from Leo. Hello? Meet me at the diner for lunch. Just you. For a moment I felt a pang of guilt. He told me how excited he was to hang out with me this week, yet I've spent almost all of my time here with Cole. Though from what I've gathered in texts, Leo's been spending most of his time with TJ and Jenna since the Lynx is apparently still feeling down. At least he had that to keep him occupied. My excuse that Cole had all the info I need for my project made my decision to spend most of my time here a little less weird. Okay, what time? And what do you mean by just me? Hey, Rave, I'm gonna go out to meet with some friends. Could you keep Cole company? Okay, sure. Raven seems busy pushing the train across the ground while attaching more cars. And make sure you keep that together. I want to get a picture of it later. Oh, phone. Now, we need to talk in privato. I sigh and put my phone away, patting my pocket for my keys as I head up the crawlspace steps. Leo waves at me as I walk into the diner. Here we are. I'm surprised to see that the diner is completely empty. There's almost always someone here. Something else is amiss too, and I don't notice it until I've sat down across from the wharf. It's eerily quiet. The usual rockabilly tracks aren't playing from the jukebox. Hey man, what's up? The atmosphere is unreasonably awkward, and I blame most of that on the strange state of the diner. So apparently we have to go to the counter to order? Janice isn't here? Oh, why is that? Leo shrugs as he sips on a milkshake. Dunno, sick I guess. It's then that I remember the story Flynn had told us about Janice and her, incident. Though I'm not going to bring it up, because I'm sure it's what Leo's thinking as well. Well, not really hungry anyway. What was he wanted to talk about? Leo swallows slowly, and then looks down at the table. So, you probably know this whole thing didn't go as I planned? I look at the collection of condensation on his glass before I speak up. Yeah, sort of. Leo frowns, as if he'd hoped I would have tried to deny it. Well, it's mostly my fault. I should have done a better job at resolving shit. Now I frown. Hey. I wait until he takes his eyes off the table to look at me. You know, you're not our big brother anymore. He looks back down at the table. We're adults, believe it or not. We can make our own decisions now. Everything we're doing right now is our decision. It's our fault, not yours. Leo's eyes get shiny, but he smiles. Yeah, you're right. I guess I just want to go back, so... Hey, we're still young. You're talking like my grandpa? Leo laughs and leans back. Mine too. Leo jerks his head, as if he just remembered something. So, what the hell happened between Jenna and Cole? I was actually hoping you could have told me that. I've got no idea. She keeps going on about him not participating. I told her it was fine, but she can't seem to let it go. Yeah, well, it's really weighing on Kyle, I think. Leo swigs his milkshake, forgoing the straw. He wipes away the cream from his muzzle as he brings it back down onto the table with some resolve. Well, I'm not letting it end like this. Okay, let what end like what now? Our group. You realise this might be the last time we're all together? That sentence immediately forms a lump in my throat. Yeah. So I'm not going to let it end like this. Flynn pissed at TJ, Jenna pissed at Cole, you and me. He lets that hang, and when I don't say anything he coughs. So, I planned something. What's that? His hesitant tone is making me nervous. He looks me in the eye and squares his shoulders. We're going to the lake tomorrow. He lets that sink in as I turn his words over in my head. I suspected that this is what he was getting at. I consider my words for a moment, not wanting to say the wrong thing. I don't know if that's, Leo puts up a paw. I've thought it through real hard, Chase. That day, what happened to Sydney, it fucked us all up. It changed us all. Not for the better either. It took something from us. Leo pauses, looking to the side as if searching for words. Flynn, Sydney was his best friend. And Cole, he's been depressed ever since. I feel the need to speak up. I don't know if you can pin all of that on what happened. Maybe we would have turned out the same. He presses on. TJ, he saw Sydney die, saw him drown. Can you imagine that at 8 years old? And Jenna, has she ever been happy since? I shake my head. I always felt like that experience helped her in a weird way. She'd decide to go to school, leave Echo. He doesn't seem to be listening to me. And you? I love you, but you did change the day it happened. You're practically a different person. I don't have anything to say to that. And me, His voice catches in his throat and I close my eyes. Leo. I was supposed to be watching all of you. I was supposed to take care of... Leo stops talking, and I keep my eyes on the table while he grabs one of the brown napkins and wipes his eyes. When he speaks again, his voice is thick and cracks with emotion. His parents never said, but they trusted me with Sydney, and I think they blamed me. No, Leo. He falls silent. For a while, we both sit there and share the feeling of being weighed down by 11 years of baggage. A good 5 minutes go by, Leo staring out the window. The afternoon sun turns his normally red fur almost orange. We can't do this anymore, and this might be our last chance to find some kind of closure. I take a deep breath, swallowing past the lump. Okay. He looks up at me, relief all over his face. So you'll go? I smile reassuringly at him. Of course. Have you told anybody else? He lowers his ears. No. Oh God, are you gonna tell them? I dunno. Leo. He does his signature shrug, pours out. I really don't know how else to get them to go. Then there's no way this isn't going to be a disaster. Hey, we gotta try. I mean, I guess. So, can you bring Cole with you? I think for a moment. Oh shit, Cole's got an interview. What time? 10, I think. Well, we'll plan around it. Text me the actual time, okay? Anyway, I invited you out here to talk about more than shitty stuff. What have you been up to the last 3 years? And so we talk for the next 2 hours, catching up on everything. It feels good, and I regret not spending more time with Leo this past week. As we part in the small parking lot, Leo surprises me with a hug. I've got a good feeling about this. It's going to be hard, but we'll be better for it. I hug back, hoping with all my heart that he's right. Okay. Oh, short Friday. Let's move straight on into Saturday. Dudes, I don't know about this. I peek into the bathroom, watching as Cole stares at himself in the mirror, running his fingers through his hair. You look great. Raven stands back, grinning with a trimmer in his paws, looking Cole up and down. Tell him, Chase. Cole looks at me, and I have to agree that he looks quite a bit better. You look fantastic, a lot cleaner. Thanks. Now, take a shower. Before Cole can say anything, Raven shoves the maul bag into Cole's chest before slamming the door in his face. Man, this is going to be so great. If the interview was based on looks alone, he'd have that job on lock. Yeah, probably. And so with that, we move to the living room and wait. Half an hour later, Cole shuffles in quietly. We don't even know he's there until he clears his throat. How does it look? He looks good, but I'm more concerned with the fact that he seems even more secure than I've ever seen him. He shifts from hoof to hoof, not making eye contact at all, his fingers pulling at the rolled up sleeves. Oh my god, fantastic. There's no way he won't get the job. Raven sounds genuine enough, but then again, he's always excited. Cole looks over at me, and I give a start, realising how bad my silence must have seemed. You do look great, but, Raven chuckles, and Cole's eyes widen. What? The beanie? Do you always wear that thing? Cole lifts a paw to it. Well, usually. You can't wear that. How do you even get it on? It's stretchy, and my head fur looks awful. Seriously, you can't wear a beanie to an interview. Cole's getting all fidgety again, so I butt in. Decision. So it is an interview, and if it's like formal dress, you should probably not wear it. Cole, that's a really bad idea for a job interview. No, it's just a suggestion, you know. Oh, come on. He looks sad and angry at the same time, which gives me pause. I'll wear what I want. This is my interview. After a couple seconds of silence, Raven coughs. Raven looks at me and then back to Cole. Well, okay. Cole sighs and shifts around again. We watch him expectantly. Dudes, this feels weird, Zol. It's new. You'll get used to it. I pull out my phone to look at the time. Okay, we really need to head out. We should get there early. As we head to the door, Raven makes as if to follow us. I kick myself for forgetting to talk to him earlier. I turn around to face him as Cole heads out the door. Hey, Raven. He stops. What's up? So, after the interview, me and Cole and our other friends, we're going to be doing something. Raven raises his brows. Oh, it's not that we don't want you to come, though I really wouldn't mind having his upbeat attitude present at what is surely going to be the biggest downer of the week. It's just that it's really personal. Oh, really? Yeah, seriously, you wouldn't want to come? We're going to be talking about some heavy shit. Raven seems to perk up a little at that. Oh, well, wouldn't want to intrude. I'll just hang out here then. Yeah, we'll be back soon, okay? Sounds good, but you have to tell me how the interview goes. I know he's going to do amazing. I will, and he will. I'll see you in a few. Cole looks confused as I come out to the car alone. Where's Raven? I sit down and make a show of buckling my seatbelt. So, I wanted to tell you after the interview, so you didn't have more to stress out over, but, what? I pause as I back out, pretending to be distracted so I can gather my thoughts. So, Leo wants us to meet up at the lake. The lake? The lake? Yeah. Why? Closure, he says. Cole stays quiet as we drive through Echo and I swerve to avoid all the potholes. As I'm merging into the highway, he finally speaks up. I think it's a good idea. Like, we've been sitting on this for how long now? We should do it while we've got the chance. I nodded my agreement. I just hope everybody else feels the same. We fall back into silence, and it stays that way for the remaining 20-minute drive. Cole gets more nervous the closer we get. I can see his knees bouncing out the corner of my eye as he stares out the window. I reach out and put a paw on his shoulder as we pull into the parking lot of the print shop. You look awesome, and you're gonna do amazing. Cole starts taking deep breaths, staring out the windshield. Just be yourself. Everybody likes a relaxed employee. I wish you'd let me have a smoke before we left. Yeah, going to an interview smelling of pot. Good idea. Cole giggles nervously, but otherwise doesn't move. Do you want me to go with you? Cole shakes his head quickly, unbuckling his seatbelt as he opens the car door. No man, I'll be fine. Okay, cool, I'll be waiting. I grin at him, but he just shuts the door and ambles up to the print shop. He pushes on the door, and when they don't move, he pushes harder, shaking the glass. I start to open my door to attempt to pull instead, but he seems to figure it out before I have to and disappears inside. Oh, Cole. Then I sit back and wait. I try to take a nap since I've been up all night with Raven and Cole gaming, but the heat beating down through the window becomes too uncomfortable. I turn the AC back on, then shuffle through the stations, but I only find Twangy Country and Mariachi. I look at the time. 10:10 AM. If the interview started on time, then he was probably almost done with it by now. That's quite a short interview, so I sort of want to go inside, but I know Cole wouldn't want me to. I settle back again and close my eyes, trying to get some relief from the fading AC. Then the door rattles, and I hear the haphazard hoof steps. I open my eyes, but no one's there. I do catch some movement disappearing around the side of the store, and I lean around to get a better look. I wait, but Cole, at least I think it's Cole, doesn't come back from around the corner. Looking around, I slowly open my door. Cole? Nothing. Cole? I yell it, but he still doesn't come out. Feeling some dread build up in my stomach, I get out of the car and slowly walk around the side of the building. It's an alley between the print shop and what I think is a laundromat. Nothing is in the alley except for a few dumpsters and clumps of garbage. I step carefully around puddles covered in oil slick and wonder if maybe he really just wanted a smoke. Cole? Something shifts on the other side of one of the dumpsters and I hear sniffling. Wordlessly, I walk around the dumpster to the other side. Cole's bent over, his back to me, paws on his knees. His whole body is shaking, and his breaths are ragged. Holy shit, Cole. I'm at his side instantly, rubbing his back. What happened? Are you alright? The stench of vomit hits my nose, and I don't need to look closely to know what the puddle between Cole's hooves is. Cole makes sure to turn his face away from me, not saying a word. Shit. I dash back to the car and open the passenger door so I can get to the glove box. I pull out a few napkins before hurrying back to the Ram. He takes them from me wordlessly and starts wiping his face. The last time I'd seen Cole like this was just last year, when he'd had his panic attack at school. I didn't think he'd have that problem now, after all the therapy and time away. I tried to rub his back comfortingly, in a clockwise motion, like my mum would do for me. He's at least not hyperventilating. He has his horns pressed up against the wall, taking deep breaths as he wipes his face again. Why do I suck at everything? He says it quietly, between gasps, but I can make it out. No, Cole, you're fine. Let's just get you home. I start to pull on his arm, but he yanks it from me violently. Don't touch me. I'm stunned into silence. I just stare at him, mouth open. He glances at me, and his eyes are red, and for once, it's not because of weed. Cole starts off toward the car on his own, spitting off to the side as he does. Cole, what happened? He whirls on me. I fucked up, obviously. Any more fucking questions? His voice breaks apart on the last sentence, and he turns away from me as his face starts to screw up. My stomach feels hollow as I watch Cole get to my car. I've never, ever seen him like this. He immediately hunches forward, head in his paws. I slowly walk up to the driver's side door, feeling like crying myself. I sit for a while, waiting to see if Cole is going to say anything. He does. Sorry. He blurts it through his fingers. I look over at him, scared to say anything in case I say the wrong thing. It was a disaster, man. He takes in a deep, shuddering breath. He could tell I wasn't into it right away. I was awkward as fuck. He leans back and tugs at his shirt. This isn't me, and they knew it, and it got me nervous. I've been nervous ever since I got my clothes, since I got this stupid trim. At that moment, it feels as if I've been punched in the stomach. I'm just now remembering the conversation we had on Wednesday. I close my eyes for a moment, not wanting to believe I'd become exactly what he said I wasn't, what he liked me for not being. We sit in silence for a long, long time, until Cole finally looks at me and smiles. God damn it, we both knew this was going to happen, didn't we? Dunno, man. And fuck me very much for taking it out on you. It's sort of my fault. No, I'm the one that screwed up the interview. Cole settles back into his seat. Now with that fuck up out of the way, on to the next one. I force a smile. Are you sure you still want to go? Hell no, but I don't think we've got much of a choice. I sigh, looking out at the hazy horizon, in the direction of where I know Echo is. Can't wait. So with that, I turn on the ignition and pull out of the parking lot, leaving the print shop and its alley far, far behind us. While this is getting from bad to worse, Leo, TJ, Flynn and Jenna are all gathered around a picnic table. It's set out neatly on concrete in front of the rocky shore of the lake. None of this existed when we were kids. In fact, it didn't exist when I left. Echo is trying really hard to stay alive. I don't need to get out of the car to gauge the mood my friends are in. The shoulders are slumped, faces turned away from each other. As I park, Leo's ears perk and he turns to wave at us. I take a deep breath and turn to Cole. You ready? Nope. Nevertheless, he opens his door and steps out and I do the same. The sun beats down on us, but being this close to the lake cools things down a bit. As we approach, I see Leo with his butt up against the edge of the table, while TJ sits next to him. Jenna sits next to TJ, while Flynn sits across from Jenna. When Flynn turns around, he immediately zeroes in on Cole. What the hell happened to you? Drugs, sex, and rock and roll? Out of order, bud. No. I'll just put it in the appropriate descending order. Flynn rolls his eyes and looks at me. Hey, fuckboy, maybe you can talk some fucking sense into this idiot. Leo's ears are flat, but he doesn't look at Flynn. I'm glad you guys could make it. Sure. Cole sits down next to Flynn, and I sit on Cole's other side across from TJ. The silence that follows is possibly the most awkward one of the week. Flynn snickers. See, this is stupid. How about we let it happen naturally, Flynn, instead of using every moment to take shots at people? Jenna's tone is icy. She hasn't even acknowledged me or Cole. TJ, meanwhile, keeps his head down, poking a sharp claw into the soft wood of the table. Flynn shrugs and starts to do his trademark I don't give a fuck lean back pose, but gives a start when he realises there isn't any backing on the bench. Well, we've been sitting here for the past 20 minutes and nothing happened. Maybe you want to start us off? Flynn sighs. Well, we could talk about how I never agreed to this shit. How Leo's a complete fucking idiot for forcing this to happen, and that I wonder what he thought this would accomplish anyway. That's a start, I guess. Flynn sets his jaw. Of course, talk that would actually get us somewhere wouldn't be from me, and he's not talking. The temperature seems to lower in the impossibly hot air, and I don't look at TJ to see how he reacts. After a brief silence, Leo speaks up. How about we start with you, Flynn? Flynn looks at Leo, brows raised. How do you feel about what happened? I see Flynn clench his jaw. What? His tone sends shivers down my spine, and I feel Cole tense up next to me. I look out across the lake, the shimmering reflections blinding me. You never talked about it. Maybe it'll help? Sweat pours down the back of my neck, builds up under my arms. Even with the wind coming off the lake, it's way too hot. By telling you how I fucking feel, how the fuck do you think I feel? Flynn screams it, and TJ jumps in front of me. You just gonna keep it buried your whole life, God Elbow? I think about the time I used to come down to this spot every day and skip rocks with Jenna and TJ. So this is how you plan to fucking get us over this? By fucking making fun of me? I'm not making fun of you. I'm trying to help you. Taunting someone who's felt like shit for a decade is a pretty weird way of helping. Please, guys. Don't you even fucking talk right now. Don't you dare talk to him like that. We all went through this. Calm down, Flynn. The table shakes as Flynn slams his fist down on the wood, snarling and standing up. Tell me to calm down one more fucking... Just shut the hell up. I stand up. Everyone turns to look at me, including Flynn. I don't say anything. Instead, I just strip off my shirt. The hell are you doing? I don't answer him. Instead, I take off my belt and slide off my pants, so I'm only left in my boxers. Without a word, I head to the lake. It's about 100 yards from the tables to the lake, and while most of the way there is sand, a good stretch of it is pointy rocks. I make my way carefully over this section, remembering the numerous cuts I'd gotten as a kid. I don't look back until I'm right at the water's edge, and when I do, I see Leo following me, in the process of taking his own shirt off. The rest of them are still sitting at the table, but I don't care, because this is really just for me. I step into the water and sigh at how cool it is before I wade out further. Once I'm waist deep, I dive under the water and pop up several feet further away from the shore. I'm neck deep at this point, and when I look back, I can see Cole now, standing at the lake's edge, paws deep in his pockets. Behind him, Jenna is helping TJ across the rocks. Only Flynn remains behind at the table, watching us all. Leo's up to his chest at this point, and I swim in a circle around him before diving under, then popping up right in front of him. Ah, you sneaky otter. He splashes water in my face and I cough. Don't be that way. I swim around him some more and laugh at how he flounders after me. He always was a terrible swimmer. I dive under the water again and swim up toward the shore, popping up about 10 feet away from Cole. Having fun? He's smiling, looking a lot more relaxed than he has all day, probably because we just avoided a situation that could have gotten really ugly. To my left, Jenna and TJ are sitting on a boulder in the shadows, TJ's slacks rolled up to his knees. Him and Jenna seem to be talking, so I decide not to play the same trick on him as I did with Leo. Flynn, meanwhile, was standing up now, arms folded. For the next little while, I swim around, occasionally popping up in front of Cole or Leo, sometimes splashing them with my tail. There's a freeing feeling about finally swimming in this lake again and having so much space. Flynn, after a good 20 minutes, comes out to the shore, He leans against an old familiar boulder, watching us. There's no way for me to know how they're all feeling, if it's liberating like it is for me. Flynn's right in a way. We can't just talk about it, because there's nothing to really say. What happened, happened, and no amount of talking can fix it. What we can do, or what I can do at least, is choose to move past it. And that's what I'm doing now. I just hope that that's what they're feeling too. Eventually, I ran out of the exhilarating energy that had so consumed me, and instead drift to the bottom of the shadows. I lay on my back against the sand, staring up at the murky glow of the sun. I feel my eyelids get heavy, and I stretch out against the soft lake bed. It is, of course, a bad idea to fall asleep underwater. If that were to happen though, I'd probably just try to breathe, get a nose full of water, and immediately wake up. Still, I decide that it's best I avoid that if I can, and force myself to open my eyes and swim to the surface. Except I can't. I'm frozen. Every nerve in my body is on fire, and I struggle not to panic, not to start trying to breathe, because that's all my body wants to do. I close my eyes, will myself to be calm. Sleep paralysis usually only lasts about a minute at most for me. I can hold my breath for 8, and I've only been under for God, I've got no idea. It feels like it's been a while. My chest has already started to burn, and that usually means it's been at least 6 minutes. And this is starting to last a long time. Despite my efforts, panic starts to set in, and it sets in quick. I start jerking my body around, trying to get something, anything to move. I don't understand why I'm not floating to the surface. I'm not trying to stay underwater. The seconds turn to minutes, and now my lungs are really burning. Something has to be holding me down, maybe some kind of vegetation? The water begins to glow red, as if blood has spread across the surface above me. I tug and pull, praying that this is all a dream, that I'm back in Cole's room, and that at any moment I'll wake up. You thought it would be this easy. That's a good one. I try to turn my head toward the voice which is right in my ear, even though I'm underwater. Things go silent again. At this point, I start to contemplate that I might actually die. I can't get my body to move, none of my friends know where I'm at, and now I'm almost out of air. Bubbles flow past my lips as my lungs finally give out, and blackness starts to crowd in on my vision. We're kinda drowning here. Uh-oh. He's waking up! My eyes open slowly, painfully, and I'm face to face with a ram, his muzzle wet with tears. Oh my god, he is. Give him room. I feel some rough paws supporting my back, turning me on my side. Can you breathe, Chase? Leo's voice is ragged next to my ear. Yeah, no, I'm fine. I sit up quickly, and a wave of dizziness threatens to topple me over again. I feel movement behind me, out of my field of vision. No. I can't believe this. I can't fucking believe this. Flynn's voice is torn and ragged. I barely recognise it. Calm down, Flynn. No, we're forced to come here and then this shit happens. Guys, I need to go. TJ, Flynn, get over here. I feel Leo's support leave me. Cole is still crouched down in front of me though. Oh my god, dude, what happened? Cole's gasping, like he's the one that was just underwater. I don't know. Cole rubs my back as I rest my head in my paws. Vaguely, I can hear more yelling behind me and Cole looks up too. No, don't. Leo, help! Despite my aching head, I turn around and see Flynn chasing TJ, grab him and throw him down to the rocks. Flynn doesn't get any further though, because Leo tackles him with such force they fly a good 5 feet before smashing down onto the rocks and sand. Leo wraps an arm around Flynn's neck and yanks up hard. Jesus. Cole stands up and starts gasping again. I try to, but I fall back down on my ass. Cole reaches down to help me up. Shit, you're not okay. Cole steadies me, but I'm distracted with trying to see what's happening. Leo's leaning down with his muzzle right up against Flynn's head, yelling at him. Meanwhile, Jenna's crouched over TJ. Cole starts to breathe heavily again, his wheezing picking up speed. I look over at him, and his eyes are glazed, as if he's watching everything from afar. Cole, what's wrong? I don't want him having another panic attack. I know I should probably stay and try to help, but I feel so fucked up right now. Besides, I don't think it'll help if Cole has a breakdown. I grab his arm. Let's get out of here, Cole. He looks at the scene a while longer and then turns away. Without another word, we make our way back to the car. I get in, barely noticing that I'm drenching the seat. Looking through the windshield, I see that my friends are still in the same position that we left them. Except Jenna. She watches us as we pull out and keeps watching us until we're out of sight. Cole stays in his glazed state as we make the short drive back to his house. I can't give him much of my attention though. I'm more preoccupied with the fact that something terrible just happened. Not only me, but to the entire group. Maybe this is a dream. Everything feels so surreal right now, like I'm watching all of this happen from 100 miles away. I don't know. I look over at Cole, but his expression is still glassy. He looks exactly how like I'm feeling. What's wrong? I don't know. You don't? I'm cut off as a large coyote suddenly runs out into the street. But she's a good distance down the road, so there's no danger of me hitting her. I watch as she tears out into the sagebrush, zigzagging about, arms flinging out in all directions. Carl and I both watch as we pass, silent. Something's happening in this town. Was that Janice? To all of us. Once we get in the house, Cole heads straight for the stairs. Cole, you guys back? How'd it go? Raven's voice calls from upstairs. Ray, something's wrong. Oh, what's wrong? I don't answer. As I walk to the stairs, Cole just disappeared down. Once I get there, he's already gone. I make my way down the stairs, and it's at that point that my headache starts to make a comeback. Cole? He's not in the basement either, but I can see the yellow light glowing from the crawl space. Something, I don't know what it is, but something feels incredibly wrong right now. Buzzing fills my head, the ground feeling unsteady, as if I'm walking on sand. Once I find Cole, we're both going to the hospital. I stumble down into the crawl space, and again, Cole's not there. I'm greeted to the familiar row of tubs, but a stack of them have been pulled away from the wall. Cole? Cole, what? I fall silent because ahead of me is a hole. About 3 feet high, 2 feet wide. What the hell, Cole? Plaster covers the tarp around it, as if the wall had been bashed violently to create the hole. Did Cole go through? Getting on my paws and knees, I look into it, but the darkness is inky, and so black I swear I can touch it. As I crawl forward, my mind gives a violent jolt, and I arch my head back, teeth bared as my face spasms. And then I fall. And it feels like I fall forever. Wind blows pleasantly through my fur, seeping underneath and cooling my sweating skin. The smell of the desert, sagebrush and dirt overwhelm my senses. Everything is black around me, but there are a million stars above me. I hear the smattering of small feet running circles around my body, snuffling of noses up against my sides and neck. Mixed into the sounds of the wilder words, languages I don't understand, chanting and singing, the sounds of dancing. Then another language. I hear a word or two that I learned from Leo years ago, and then my own language. And above it all is a maniacal cackling, one that builds and fades before choking off into a sob. It's weird. The first feeling I have is one of confusion. I feel stiff and cold, and I'm lying back on something hard. I expect to see stars above me when I open my eyes, but instead all I see is blackness. Panic starts to well up inside me. My breathing quickens, and though it's hard and painful, I manage to push myself up into a sitting position. And that's when I see a gentle glow coming from an opening about 30 feet away from me. Where am I? The last thing I remember was the lake. Wait, no, Cole's house is the last thing I remember. We went back to his house after the lake. Did I fall asleep in the house somehow? I feel around on the floor with my hands and can feel wood underneath me. It creaks as I shift around. Cole? My voice comes out hard and crackly. I have to lick my lips several times to keep them from sticking together. I call out again, but more softly this time because now I'm starting to wonder if somebody else brought me here. When I don't hear anything, I start to crawl forward toward the light. My head throbs a little and there's a coppery taste in my mouth. Probing my tongue around, I taste the sour of bites along my cheeks. I start to run through a list of things that could have happened. I was in Cole's basement and then I just sort of seized up. Did someone hit me over the head? I stop crawling and start moving my hands around my body and over my head. No signs of any injuries. Aside from the cheek bites, it's really just the inside of my head that hurts. While I do this, lucidity starts to return in waves as if a dam has broken and all of my senses are falling back into place. At the same time, the panic starts to return as I realise how much this doesn't make sense. Someone had to have brought me here, wherever here is. I start crawling again, trying to keep my panic under control. I'm almost to the glow, but it's weird because it's coming from the ground. As I get closer, I hear a soft brushing behind my head. I tense and look over my shoulder. I'm greeted by the sight of inky blackness, so dark that it almost feels alive, and I get the impression of a giant mouth opening up in front of my face. The imagery gives me a jolt and I lunge forward, deciding to get up onto my feet so I can move fast, and then I'm falling, but not for long. My senses are full of light now, and I throw my hands forward to catch myself, but I keep falling, and a split second before I hit, I realise there's a ladder. I instinctively grab at it, but my head hits the rungs first, and I flip forward before landing on my feet. It happens on weak ankles though, and my right foot gives out and my ankle rolls. I hear a series of pops before the rest of my body hits the floor. I lay there for a moment, the sudden noise and violence of the fall stunning me. In my stupor, I felt a cold spiderweb with electricity pulsing from my ankle, and that's what spurs me to move. I pull myself into a sitting position to clutch at it. Fuck. The pain isn't really bad, but something is definitely wrong, and I'm not sure if I can just walk it off. And that's when I notice my surroundings. A long hallway stretches out to either side of me, lit by decorative chandeliers. Looking up, I see that I've fallen down a drop-down ladder from a small square in the ceiling. The hell? I look back down at my ankle. I wiggle it around and immediately feel another pulse of electricity that feels much more painful this time around. I grit my teeth as I spread my hands out against the wall behind me, pushing myself up slowly, making sure not to put any weight on my injured ankle. As I'm doing this, I hear a soft clopping sound coming from my right. At the end of the hall, it looks like it takes a sharp right, and it sounds like the noises are coming from that turn. My throat tightens, and I press myself harder up against the wall. I see a shadow slide up the carpet at the end of the hallway, and I hold my breath. The shadow stops too, and I get the feeling that whatever it is might be holding its own breath. Finally, the tension gets to me, and I clear my throat nervously. Cole? Chase? Cole! I let out a gasp of relief and almost sagged down the wall. More clopping of footsteps, and Cole appears around the corner. His eyes are wide and his nostrils flare. He stumbles up to me, his hands clasped together nervously. Holy shit, dude, it's so fucking good to see you. I press up harder against the wall, taking more weight off my foot. The hell's going on? I don't know. I just woke up. You okay? He looks at me and then down at my foot. Are you hurt? I gesture up at the ladder. I fell down that thing. Cole looks up at the ladder and the dark hole it leads up to. What were you doing up there? I don't know. I just woke up in the dark and tried to crawl out. Shit. Cole bends down to look at my ankle, which is clearly starting to swell. Can you walk? I think so, kind of. He stands back up and looks around. Chase, I don't know what's going on. I just woke up in a bedroom in the hall like 20 minutes ago. Is this not part of your house? Cole lets out a breathy, incredulous laugh. No, definitely not. I was trying to find a window, but I can't. Maybe you're in a basement or something? The last thing I remember is your crawl space. What, so we're like in an underground bunker or something? Why would they have an attic in a basement? I look back up at the dark hole in the ceiling. Maybe it's not an attic. Chase, I'm freaking out here. And it shows too. His breathing is picking up, his wide nostrils flaring again. I reach out and put a hand on his shoulder, giving some reassuring squeezes. No, it's okay. Maybe we got really high or drunk or something. What's the last thing you remember? Cole starts clicking his fingers together again, looking away up the hall. The lake? Yeah, I remember we went back to your house, and then down to the basement, and then, Cole frowns. I don't remember. I watch him, carefully. But then I remember looking behind the plastic bins, and there was this... Help! We both jump, as the scream comes from right down the hall. Carl and I both look at each other wide-eyed. The hell? Hello? Someone there? It sounds like Raven. Cole starts to hesitantly walk up the hallway, and I move to follow, and immediately regret it as I put weight on my ankle. It's completely stiff now, and pain shoots up into my shin like lightning. My gasping causes Cole to turn around in confusion, and then his eyes light up when he sees my leg. Ah shit, here. He reaches out, and I wrap an arm around his neck. He's sturdy and strong, easy to lean against, and I sigh with relief as I take the weight off my injured ankle. Somebody? We hobble our way down the hall, following the sound of Raven's panicked voice. We take a left at the end of the hall and are confronted with an almost identical hallway to the last. And that's when I start to smell smoke. Do you smell that? Cole puts his nose up. Something's burning? Help me. I almost jump again as the sound comes from right on our left, the only door on the left side of the hallway. We both look at the door for a moment. Cole's ears perk straight up, and we both jump again as the door shakes from several heavy bashes that rattle the frame. Help! The cry is mournful, like he's given up. Raven? The shaking and pounding stops. Cole? Cole! The voice instantly turns hopeful, and the voice grows muffled, as if Raven is pressing his muzzle right up against the door. I'm stuck. The door won't open, and there's a fire. What? Chase, there's something burning on the stove. Or something, I can't see it. Me and Cole look at each other in bewilderment. Guys, it's getting really smoky in here. I can't really see anything. He gives a cough, and it's really hard to breathe. Okay, hold on a sec, man. We'll get you out. Cole shifts me to the wall so I can lean against it and tries the doorknob. The knob barely turns, clearly locked. Shit. Yeah, it's locked. It's getting really hot in here. Hold on. Cole shoves his shoulder up against the door. It gives a few creaks, but otherwise stays solid. Please help. His plaintive whimpering is barely audible through the thick wood. What kind of lock is it? Maybe we could pick it? Cole studies the knob. I don't think a paperclip's gonna work. I lean in to look and find myself staring at an old-fashioned keyhole. The hell? Raven, can't you unlock it from that side? No, there's nothing there. Guys, I can't breathe. His voice is getting desperate again. There's no other way out? No other door? Raven doesn't answer, and Carl and I both wait for a good 10 seconds. Raven? Ah! We both jump for the third time before Cole presses his face up to the door. Raven, what happened? For a few seconds, all we hear is coughs. Then Raven's voice is lower, up against the bottom of the door, as if he's laying down. Something in the smoke. Help! What's in the smoke? My mind flashes back to what I heard in the attic. Something, can't see. Open the door. Fuck alright, man, stand back. I don't know if he's talking to me or Raven, but I take a step back anyway. Cole takes a few steps back, then throws his body forward, smashing up against the door. He shudders a little bit and I hear a crack or two, but otherwise there's no change. He tries it again, with the same result. Cole, I don't think it's gonna work. Cole doesn't say anything, instead backing up until his back touches the opposite wall. He takes a deep breath and charges forward, his head down this time. Instinctively I close my eyes, imagining Cole snapping his neck right in front of me. The impact is much louder this time, and it's accompanied by a crunch. When I open my eyes, it's not Cole's neck that's broken, but rather the wooden door. Cole's head is completely busted through the door, so that his head is poking in on the other side. I stare, expecting to see the tendrils of black smoke snaking out of the broken door, but there's nothing. Cole sets his hand on either side of the door, apparently taking a look around. Raven, you okay? I walk up to Cole's side and put a hand on his back. Cole, what is it? Is there a fire? Cole braces himself up against the door before pushing back, yanking his head out of the opening. He comes up with a bunch of wooden splinters clinging to his head fur and beard and sweatshirt. Nothing. I duck down and look through the opening as well, taking care to keep weight off my injured foot. I'm greeted to the sight of a brightly lit dining room and kitchen, but it's clear no smoke's in sight. It was completely black in here a second ago. I look down at the trembling voice of Raven below me and see the husky curled up, his head poking up from his fetal position. Hey, Chase. Oh, hi. I don't know what happened. There was smoke everywhere. It's like when you opened the door, it all got sucked out. I sniff, and now I can't even get a whiff of the smoke aside from the residual taste I still have of it in the back of my throat. I hear a click next to my head and look over to see the doorknob twist. I pull my head out of the hole and Cole pulls open the door. Are you kidding me? It was locked, right? It was definitely locked. Raven gets up, brushing shaky hands down his shirt. You okay, man? Yeah. I just thought I was gonna die for a second, you know? I watch Raven struggle to keep his ears perked up. What happened? Raven takes a deep breath. I don't know. I just woke up in here and smoke just started coming out of the stove or oven or something. You said you saw something? Yeah, something in the smoke. Looked like arms or something. Carl and I look at each other. But it might have just been the smoke. I look around the room, scanning it for any signs of the black smoke that Raven was so adamant about having seen. I don't think he was just seeing things, because I'm pretty sure I hadn't imagined the smell. I promise I'm not lying, it's just what I saw. I think the bigger issue here is why we're here at all. I mean, where the hell is here? I spread my hands out, giving an incredulous laugh. I thought that maybe this was just another part of your house. Raven looks at Cole. I mean, I went downstairs after you guys and found this hole, and everything went dark. Cole looks down. Same here, I followed Cole. We both look at Cole, but he doesn't say anything, instead just moving past Raven into the large kitchen next to the dining room. I hobble after him, and then reach out to lean against the counter. I try to gather my thoughts. Everything still feels dreamlike, surreal, and my thoughts are sluggish. Cole, do you have any idea what happened? I mean, the hole? Did you go there too? Cole sets his hand on his hips, eyes wandering around the room. Honestly, I can't remember anything that happened after the lake, man. Raven casts a sidelong look at me before moving next to Cole. Well, maybe it will just take you a second before you can remember. I was really confused when I woke up here. I was curled up over there on that counter. Raven points to a marble-top counter under a row of over a dozen pans hanging from a fixture attached to the ceiling. We stand there in silence as I imagine we individually absorb the situation we're in. Cole, are you sure this isn't some extension of your house? Maybe something that leads out of the crawl space? The Ram laughs, but it definitely isn't genuine. Dude, I think I'd know if this was part of my house. Unless my parents have just been building the secret kitchen underground for who knows how long. I glance at the lighting, which is definitely electric, and then over at what looks like an electric stove. While everything sort of looked old-fashioned, there was a mixture of modernity to it as well. Where else could we be? Raven and I remember going to the crawl space, then losing consciousness after we found that hole, which is where you went, Cole. Cole finally does turn to me at that point, his brow furrowed. Do you think I had something to do with this? Even though I was implying that he might know more, Cole's sudden jump to being defensive catches me by surprise. No, I just wonder if you might have any more ideas, since it's your house, you know? Cole laughs again. I'm struck by the fullness of it. Usually when Cole laughed, it was crackly and half-hearted. Now it's loud and a little bit abrasive. Think I just waited in the shadows and drugged you all up with acid or some shit? I don't respond, just watching Cole as he stares back at me, breathing hard. Raven coughs loudly. Hey guys, let's calm down. You know, I'm kinda hungry. Why don't we make some food? That seems to break Cole out of his stare down with me as he looks over at Raven and huffs out one of his more characteristic chuckles. Really, Raven? Yeah, always makes me feel better. Raven starts opening cupboards, but each one is empty. Cole turns back to me, frowning. Sorry, Jace. I'm just fucking freaked out too. Thing is, I don't think we're in my house anymore. He chuckles again. I mean, are we even in Echo? What time is it? I reach in my pocket to check my phone, and that's when I remember I have a fucking phone. I almost jump with the realisation and shove a hand in my pocket to put it out. Why didn't I think of that before? What? Phone! I put it out excitedly and hit the button to turn the screen on. And I'm met with a black screen. My phone's dead. Are you kidding me? I hold the phone power button, but nothing happens. I look up to see Raven and Cole getting similar results, Raven shaking his as if it's gonna help. Cole shakes his head. We were out that long. That's crazy. I pressed a hand to my face for a moment, the idea that this could still be some sort of dream coming to mind. I remember after taking an overnight job back when I was a freshman, and how that had fucked up my sleeping schedule. That in turn gave me all kinds of fucked up realistic dreams. Sleep paralysis plagued me to the end of my wits, and I remember one time I thought I'd never be able to get up. I was stuck in bed, but each time I sat up and thought it was over, I'd end up sort of waking up again, still lying down, stuck in my paralysis. Dreams within dreams within dreams. No food either. My scattered thoughts collect together long enough for me to decide on the next course of action we should take. Okay, this is stupid. We should go out and look around. We'll find the way out eventually. Yeah, we need to do that. I looked around a little, but I didn't find anything. I gripped the counter a little more tightly as I feel a slight wave of dizziness come over me, making everything feel even less real. But the pain that's shooting up from my ankle is very real, and just a glance down at the ever-growing swelling confirms it. The suspicion that we'd somehow been drugged grows, but I don't want to upset Cardigan, so I don't mention it. Okay, let's just stick together and go. We'll find a way out. Ah, I'm hungry though. We can eat when we get out, there's no food here anyway. I turn, and even though I do it as lightly as possible, the moment I step my right foot down feels like 100 needles pressed into my ankle. Ah, fuck. Cole's at my side instantly, reaching out a hand to steady me. Dude, you okay? What happened? I lean all my weight on the counter at that point. Just letting my foot dangle as I hold it off the ground is painful. He fell down the ladder and landed on his foot wrong. What? But it's only now that it's really starting to hurt. I say it through gritted teeth. The pain is actually making me sweat, and I'm realising that I might have done more than just sprain it. I don't think I can walk like this. How did you fall down the ladder? He woke up in the attic, here. Cole hunches down in front of me. My stupefied brain thinks up a butt sex joke, but I managed to keep it canned. Are you sure? I could just lean against you? That'll take too long. Besides, it looks like you can't walk at all right now. Hesitantly, I let go of the counter and let myself sort of fall forward onto the ram's back. He's sturdy and barely budges as I lean all my weight onto him. Cole reaches back with both hands and hitches my legs off the ground as he stands, and I feel all the muscles in his back flex as he does. Damn, Cole, working out? Cole grunts. Little bit. I move my head to the side to keep from knocking my nose against his horns. It's a smart move, because just then Cole nods his head in Raven's direction. Hey, I know this is kind of fucked up, but maybe grab a kitchen knife? Raven raises an eyebrow at Cole. Why? I immediately see what Cole's getting at. We have no idea where we are or who put us here. Might be safe to be ready to defend ourselves, you know. And you said you saw something in the smoke? Raven's eyes widen, but he reaches out to slowly pull a knife from the silver-looking knife block. The husky frowns at the shing sound it makes. His ears down and elbows in. It's clear he's never used anything as a weapon before, but I can't blame him. Neither have I. I don't know if I should be the one to do it, though. Well, you're not strong enough to hold chase, so I've got my hands tied. He looks back at me. If anything happens, though, I might have to drop you and help him out, okay? I chuckle softly. Yeah, no problem. Let's just hope it doesn't have to happen. And with the shaky husky in the lead, we set off back into the hallway. Okay, I think that this is probably a good place to break off this gameplay. So a lot happened. We had an interview, we had a big falling out with all of our friends. Now, what, have we been kidnapped? And we're in some kind of secret underground bunker? I don't know, but we're going to try and find out more in the next episode. This is Ushio signing off, and hopefully I will see you next time.